Go ahead, sir.
Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners agenda setting work session for Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. It's 9:02 a.m. My name is Ty Minter, Chair of the Board. Vice Chair Commissioner Gary Edwards, not yet with us. Oh, there he is. Just clicked on through Zoom, and Commissioner Carolina Mejia as well. County Manager Mira Chavez and Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell are in the boardroom, and we have a whole slew of staff for various items we'll be addressing this morning. The meeting is live streamed on the Thurston County YouTube channel. We have a 3-hour block of time, and we'll be taking a probably 10-ish minute break right there in the middle of that block. So we start with item 1 this morning, which is COVID-19 update. And we have Shelley Slaughter from Public Health. Good morning, Shelley.
Good morning. Today is day 678 of Thurston County's COVID-19 emergency response. In Washington State, there have been 793,757 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and 9,580 deaths in Washington State. This includes 23,690 confirmed cases in Thurston County residents, with 385 new cases in the last week, which puts us at 278 on the governor's risk assessment dashboard over the last 14 days. We've had 246 Thurston County residents lose their lives due to COVID-19, and 3 new deaths that were reported to Thurston County Public Health this last week. 1,459 Thurston County residents have been hospitalized. 7 new hospitalizations occurred this week. Currently, our hospital capacity remains high but stable. 97% of our acute beds are occupied, and 58% of our ICU beds are occupied. There are 32 inpatients in our local hospitals with COVID-19 currently. We've had 107 congregate care outbreaks to date, and 7 that our team are currently investigating, with 1 new additional this last week. We continue to make progress in administering vaccines in Thurston County. 439,050 doses of COVID-19 vaccine have been administered by our local vaccine partners here in our community, including at Thurston County Public Health and Social Services. 65.3% of our Thurston County population has initiated at least 1 dose, and 60% of our population is considered fully vaccinated. 77.5% of those 16 and older have initiated at least 1 dose, and 71.3% of 16 and older are considered fully vaccinated. Among those 12 and up, 76% have initiated at least 1 dose in the series, and nearly 70% are fully vaccinated. 70% are also fully vaccinated among those 12 and older. Among 5 to 12-year-olds, we don't have full data on that yet, but continue to make progress with kids of that age. And approximately in Thurston County, we're about 23% of 12 and up in our population that has initiated at least 1 dose of vaccines. We still do not yet have our test positivity data, which gives us an indicator of community transmission. But we do have testing widely available. Strongly encourage people who are experiencing symptoms of COVID-19 or may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19 to get tested. We are offering our Rochester clinic today. Our mobile testing unit will be out there. And then at City of Lacey tomorrow, Union Gospel Mission on Thursday, and Evergreen State College on Friday. We have vaccine clinics at the mall 7 days a week, and multiple mobile clinics out in the community. Encourage people to check our website. For those seeking vaccines elsewhere, you can also go to your local pharmacy or healthcare provider. We strongly encourage people to get their first vaccine if they have not done so, and if they are eligible for a booster, please do so as soon as possible. And with that, I'll pass it over to our esteemed health officer, Dr. Abdul.
Good morning, commissioners. The University of Washington's virology lab continues to identify new cases of the Omicron variant. The state releases every 2 weeks the state sequencing data. So we'll be anticipating a little bit more information on the relative prevalence on that soon. The number of samples that are being sequenced by UW are small, but the proportion of sequence samples that have first had the signal mutation on regular PCR that prompts sequencing have increased in proportion, and the samples with that initial signal that have been sequenced so far have been the Omicron variant. We are still learning a lot about the Omicron variant in terms of disease severity, the fact that it is rapidly that it may be rapidly spreading in Washington state really points to the fact that it may be in certain situations able to outcompete Delta in specific situations. This is early data. So we are still watching this situation. We're still watching the situation very closely. The good news is that other early data has shown that while there may be a reduction early data has shown that vaccine is extraordinarily protective against severe illness and death from COVID-19, and that while we're still learning about the efficacy against the Omicron variant, booster doses of any of the FDA approved vaccines, based on early data, and the earliest data that we have so far is Pfizer. We're waiting on Moderna to post their data as well, or for studies regarding the specific antibody levels for Moderna to be posted as well. But the overall trend that we're really seeing reflects that having a booster dose after the initial 2 doses of vaccine is significantly more protective against infection. The CDC has approved booster doses for those 16 and older, and I encourage everyone in our county who's eligible for vaccine and eligible for booster doses to get their booster doses. Just as a reminder, booster doses do vary based on the vaccine that people initially received. So folks receiving a single dose of J&J, everyone 18 and up, is eligible and should get a booster dose 2 months after that vaccination, and it can be any of the 3 currently FDA approved vaccines. In terms of folks who had received a 2-dose series of Pfizer and Moderna, booster doses are recommended for 16 and up now, 6 months after completion of a series. And with that, I'm open to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Commissioner Mejia, any questions for Shelley or Dr. A?
No, just again, Shelley, thank you so much for everything you've done, and we'll be seeing more of you later this afternoon, but thank you, Dr. A, as well, for the report this morning.
Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
No, sir.
Okay. I don't have anything either. Thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Item 2, homeless strategies update. Keely Marino is here. Good morning, Keely.
Good morning. Keely Marino with Public Health and Social Services.
starting off today with our weekly update on the TRAP situation, or the Rental Assistance Program. So Community Action Council at this point served. I was muted. Community Action Council has served 3,229 households at this point, and has paid out about $22.8 million in rental assistance and about $1.1 million in utility assistance. CYS has served 137 households of youth and young adults between the ages of 18 and 24. There are 241 other households in progress, meaning their applications are moving along, and they've spent over about $1,076,000 in rental assistance at this point. So other than that, I'm sure I'd like to report on the sweep of Deschutes Parkway. So I was in attendance starting at 7:30 in the morning last Wednesday for that adventure, I suppose. I have been to many sweeps in my years living in Olympia in my various roles, but particularly in this role, this was my 5th camp sweep. And I will say that in terms of the smoothness of the handling of the individuals, helping them get their belongings together, organizing volunteers, ensuring that they felt supported. This is one of the most smooth experiences for a very typically pretty violent and upsetting situation. So I just wanted to shout out to Olympia Mutual Aid Partners for their extraordinary efforts to organize the volunteers and make sure that the process went as smoothly as possible. City of Olympia has housed upwards of 50 people in hotels at this point. And there are other efforts going on in our community that have also housed about 20 to 25 other Deschutes residents in hotels throughout the community. I don't know much about that effort, but I do know that it is occurring. And then tomorrow and Thursday, we'll begin the sweeping of part of Ensign Road. So at this point, as I understand it, they will be only moving the individuals living from the access road into the emergency department to Lilly. And then we'll clear the rest from Providence Lane on up on January 12th. So they're slowing down the process to make sure that they can do right by the individuals there as possible. Also to note, it's important to note that the City of Olympia has offered for ancillary vehicles, or vehicles that provide storage, not liveaboards. Nobody's living in those vehicles. They've offered to store those vehicles on their property at Martin Way and Carpenter Road at their firing range. So there will be RVs potentially, or other vehicles stored there while those individuals who are living in separate vehicles are figuring out what their next steps are. So just want to be really clear what that process looks like. And I think that's it for me today.
Commissioner Mejia, any questions?
Commissioner, may I add additional comments to Kelly related to the RVs?
Go ahead, Ramiro.
Yeah, I did have a conversation with the city manager. He reached out to me, and the reason behind this is more of a logistical challenge, as they are going to be sweeping the RVs, as Kelly stated, on the upper end of Ensign Road. Some of those vehicles are not operational, and some of the towing companies do not have room to store those RVs that are not operational. So the City of Olympia are going to be moving maybe 10 non-occupied, non-operational RVs to their site next to our Carpenter site for at least 30 days. That is the expectation. I believe the assistant city manager had reached out to the businesses in front of Martin Way, stating that if they see RVs being towed into their City of Olympia property, those will not be occupied. Those will not be a managed site. It's going to be a temporary storage, because we have a logistical backup on the towing companies. They do not have room until they can send it to final processing of those vehicles. I just want to clarify that to the public. that if they see a towing company towing an RV into the City of Olympia site, is those are unoccupied, those will not be a managed site, there will not be individuals living on those RVs, and it will be a temporary storage until the towing companies will have room on their sites. That's all I have.
Ramiro, I understood everything you said about but where is the place that they might be stored?
So the next to the Carpenter site,
On Olympia's
we own
property?
is on the upper side of that. City of Olympia owns the that property. That's where the firing range is located.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. Thank you. Commissioner Mejia?
No questions for me. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
I don't have a question, but this raises a concern that for those individuals that are watching today, Keeley and the county manager have made that very clear what the plan is. But for word that gets around in the, I don't know, you want to call it scuttlebutt or whatever, that circulates in the community, for those individuals that don't get an opportunity to watch this meeting for whatever reason, I think this is a great example of why we need recorded minutes, at least relatively available for citizens that are wondering what we're talking about. I'm not advocating any drastic changes right now, but this is a good example. There's going to be some question about this, what the intent of this was, because it's a hot topic. And I think that might clarify for those folks that have questions. So I don't have a suggestion right at this point in time, but I think it's a good example of why we maybe need some written minutes on a topic like this to be entered pretty timely.
We do have minutes, Commissioner.
Do we have
and we post those minutes.
Will this be kind of a, do you see where I'm coming from? A little more ticklish situation than?
So what are you asking when, please clarify what timely means.
Well, I don't know, but today I suppose we're gonna get more questions about this.
Right.
I just bring it up, that's all. Just something to think about for maybe the future.
So how quickly after this meeting ends is the recorded version available?
Is recording even as we speak.
So someone could go this afternoon and watch the video and know exactly what the
This
conversation.
is live stream and the recording is posted even as we speak. Megan, can you clarify that?
Good morning, Megan Porter, Public Information Supervisor. It does take YouTube about 12 hours for the recording to show up on YouTube, but the link that is on our social media sites will take you directly to it. So it is available right away. It just doesn't show up on YouTube for about 12 hours.
Okay, I guess when you say right away, I've had people tell me that they tried to watch a meeting that we've had and then they found out it took a little while to get to watch it. So could you explain possibly how somebody could watch it on this other format that you're talking about?
Yes, they can go to our social media sites, either Facebook or Twitter, and the link that is posted on the social media sites will take it to you immediately. YouTube just doesn't process it and make it available through YouTube if you don't have the link for about 12 hours. But the link that is on our social media sites will take you to it immediately.
Okay.
So this afternoon, they could get it through Facebook or Twitter, or tomorrow morning, they will also see it
Sure.
on YouTube. So I mean, that's about as fast as we can get.
That's pretty good, just trying to
Thank you.
get something exposed because I think something might come of it. There'll be discussions about it. So, want to let the public know.
That's for a fact. And that is the reason why I'm making sure that I explain the situations behind this. And
Yeah.
it's more of a logistical challenge that an approach that may be conceived differently. It's
Yeah.
just a logistical challenge at this point.
Thank you very much.
Keely, I have a question. A citizen showed me yesterday a photograph from, I think it was the evening of the sweep or something that had some fires burning. Do you know anything about that or what that was related to?
No, I have not heard of any extra burning or fires, but I can certainly ask City of Olympia staff.
Okay, I think it was quickly put out, but I don't know. I just was wondering what the dynamic was, you know, who set them and what it was all about. But it seemed like it was under control. But at one given moment in time, there was a couple of pretty significant fires burning. The picture was taken from across Capitol Lake, and
Oh boy.
you could see it pretty clearly. So anyway, yeah. So any follow-up you have on that would be great. Thank you. Let's go to the draft agenda for this afternoon. This is a hefty agenda. And I mention that because Board of Health will start at the end of the Board of County Commissioners meeting. The Board of County Commissioners meeting involves 9 consent items and 20 business items, which might be a record for my 3 years on the board. We did go through almost all of this last week, so hopefully we can go through it efficiently this morning. The meeting will be called to order at 2 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Mejia. Review of the agenda for today, approval, and then board meeting minutes from December 6th and 7th. I guess those are the public hearings regarding the budget that we had. Public will have the opportunity to address the board. County manager will have opportunity to provide any updates. Is there anything, Ramiro, that you need to report to the board?
And nothing is pending, commissioners. I do have at the end of your agenda, public testimony, and this is something that we have received via email and status of the LP Brown property. So I'll provide an update on that when later on your agenda.
Okay.
Not necessarily this afternoon.
Okay, consent items, we have A through I. 3A is central services, ER&R, equipment, external user rate review.
Yeah, thank you, commissioners. I'm gonna run this quickly, but please stop me if you have any questions. This item you reviewed last week, and this item is for you to consider setting annual rates for specific equipment, particularly in public works. When public works provide offer those pieces of equipment to external customers, and there is a preset rates. I believe this is a good step. In the past, we have utilized a single rate, and this provides us with a little more detail depending on the type of vehicle that we have available in public works. Any questions?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Is that in our packet? I didn't see that. That little sheet, the rate sheet?
No, it is included and online,
Okay.
but I can certainly give you a copy of this.
Just when yeah, I'd just like to look at it because I know that's been an issue on some of the lakes management issues. So just want to look at it. Thank you.
Anything else, Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
Okay, let's look then at 3B, Human Resources. Resolution to amend Chapter 4 of the Personnel Policies and Rules, and I think, Ramiro, you gave us a new handout on this.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I did give you a heads up last week. They will be bringing this item for your consideration, and I believe Maria has already joined us. She will walk you through briefly for your consideration some of the proposed changes in terms of benefits to our county employees. And I give you a handout that really summarizes the proposed changes. And I'm trying to make time until Maria can get connected. I see her. So, but if she's not able to, I'll be more than happy to walk you through the proposed changes on specifically Chapter 4 of the personnel policies. Oh, I see Maria's there. Maria, are you there?
Maria Ponte, Human Resources
There she is.
Director.
Okay, and your item's up. You wanna walk us through briefly as to what the proposed changes are?
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
There's a little
No,
bit
a
of,
technical issue.
it's a little bit of a delay on your connection, but hopefully we'll go through it.
Okay, well, good morning, Maria Fonte, Human Resources Director. Today I'm presenting some proposed changes to Chapter 4 of the leave rules. Some of these changes were in progress prior to when the pandemic hit, and then they were basically backburnered just because we didn't have time. And so with wanting to add Juneteenth as a legal holiday next year, I took this as an opportunity to revisit the entire chapter, make some recommended changes. I worked with Jane Fretterman, our civil attorney, and she's here in case you have any questions. So I'll walk through the proposed changes. Section 1A is to add Juneteenth as a holiday. The second one is to change the day after Thanksgiving to Native American Heritage Day. And these changes are in alignment as well with the Washington State legal holidays. Any questions with these proposed changes? Okay, the next change is to convert the Community Service Day into an additional floating holiday. We made this change during labor negotiations, and so they have been adopted for, I believe, the majority of our collective bargaining agreements. This change will simplify some of our leave practices, and again, it reflects current practice in our previously negotiated collective bargaining agreements. The next change is to add a 15-year holiday when floating holiday, excuse me. When we were doing labor negotiations and did research, we found that we were behind on providing longevity days. So this would also help with retention and providing additional time off for our longer tenured employees. The next change is to update the Washington State paid sick leave plan. That's a mouthful for me. And this law came into effect a couple of years ago, and when the county adopted the policy, we were requiring employees using sick leave to use this form of sick leave first. Since then, the Department of Labor and Industries has provided guidance that it is at the employee's choice. We cannot force them to take it. So this change would comply with that mandate. Also elaborating that this type of leave can be used for domestic violence leave or closures due to schools being closed by the public health official. The next change is on shared leave, and it's a fairly minor change. This will help payroll. When someone doesn't utilize all their shared leave, we would return it on the last donated first return basis. Any questions on that section? All right. The next section is on military leave. And we're just providing additional clarification that employees may take up to 21 days if they are doing some military leave. It also specifies that the employer cannot change an employee's schedule to avoid providing those days off. So this, again, it just tightens what that law already provides for employees. And the next section has to do with workers' comp. This is a technical change because Labor and Industries no longer allows employees to apply mandatory buyback of sick leave. And instead, it allows employees to use accrued sick leave in addition or to supplement workers' compensation benefits. Again, this change has already been made in our previously negotiated collective bargaining agreements. And let's see here, getting close to the end of the long list. Section 18, this adds information on the Washington Paid Family Medical Leave Act. This act was adopted in 2020, so the year that the pandemic hit, and we just were not able to update the policy. So this includes employees' leave rights under Washington Paid Family Leave. And Section 19 is a new section, and this is providing information to employees on other leave that they may take. Some of it's unpaid, so holidays for reasons of faith, conscience, or religious activity, domestic violence leave, military family leave, and Family Medical Leave Act qualifying exigency leave, difficult word for me to pronounce, associated with military service. So with that, I will open the floor to any questions you may have.
Commissioner Mejia or Edwards, any questions?
I don't have any questions at this point.
I'm just glad we're updating the Washington State paid sick leave. I remember that was a pain in the butt, so.
Great.
Sounds like we're good to go, Maria.
All right. Well, thank you for your patience. This was a long one.
Nope, that's good. Good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
Chair?
Yes.
Could I refer back to this prior, the ER&R equipment rental here just for a second? I'd like to ask.
Sure. Sure.
I know that some pieces of equipment have an hour meter and some don't. And I'm wondering if something goes out that does not have an hour meter, but maybe it goes 10 miles or something. Versus if someone takes a piece of equipment to go, maybe a vehicle, to go to a meeting and doesn't come back for, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours, are they gonna get, do they get dinged the full amount that they're gone even though they didn't use the vehicle? Has that been considered, or was that taken into consideration on that particular issue?
So are you asking about Thurston County offices and departments?
Well, we've had a deal involving the lakes one time where they were charged kind of an excessive amount.
The county, and I don't agree that it was an excessive amount. They were charged for use, but they would be a county entity. These rates are for external. So for example, if the city of Lacey wanted to use the county's snow removal equipment, this is the rate table that we would use. They would not use the internal county rate structure. That's a completely different structure that the board approves with the budget.
In relate to the lakes in your example, Commissioner, an employee checks out a vehicle, county vehicle, and the only thing they need to log is the miles.
Okay, that's fine.
Because we're not charging per hour because it's considered to be a county fund, the lakes. So this is, as Roman said, external.
Okay.
I think there's a day rate, but there, we can check those for you, but it's a completely different table.
Okay, just another example. So those pieces of equipment that have hourly, have hour meters on them, that, like, I don't know, a sweeper, I don't know, it's probably got an hour meter on it. It says Lacey needs to borrow it from us for, it's gonna be there 4 or 5 days or 2 days, I don't know what it's gonna be. Are they charged by the hour of the hour meter, or is that kind of the way it'll go then?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that is the intent.
Bruce is.
Yeah. And also, when we provide services to any outside jurisdiction, is time and materials.
Okay.
So is more than just equipment. It's the time as well as the materials, any other supplemental services that we provide.
Yeah, thank you.
Bruce, did you have anything you wanted to add there?
Nothing further to add.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking, Commissioner. I appreciate that clarification.
Okay, very good. Let's look at Sheriff item 3C, intergovernmental agreement with National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance. Under Sheriff Brady's here.
You review this item, Commissioners, and for your considerations to authorize the Sheriff's Office to enter into an intergovernmental corporate purchasing agreement with the National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance. And this is specifically to secure the purchase of body cameras as well as cameras for patrol vehicles. Obviously, this is pending on your decision of approving this item as part of the 2022-2023 biennial budget. And
Questions?
Under Sheriff Brady is here to answer questions.
Any questions from the board?
I don't have any.
No, not right, not at the moment, thank you.
Okay, me neither. Let's go to the next sheriff item, lease with Lacey Fire District number 3.
Yeah, you also review this item, Commissioners, and this is for your consideration to authorize the Sheriff's Office to sign a lease of a office space located on Fire District 3, which is A407 Steilacoom Road Southeast. And this is in replacement to a detachment on the west side of Olympia, I believe. And again, for your consideration is to authorize this lease. It is $125 a month, and the proposed lease is from 4 to 5 years year term. And again, Under Sheriff Brady is here to answer any questions.
Commissioner Mejia,
No questions.
Commissioner Edwards.
No questions.
All right, good to go there. 3E is also a sheriff item, waiver of competitive solicitation and contract with Tactical Athlete Performance Institute.
Yeah, you also review this item, Commissioner, and the Under Sheriff provide additional perspective related to this. Is a 1-year pilot project, and we have added that clarification on the motion this afternoon. And this is for $26,950 plus tax. The waiving of competitive solicitation has been reviewed by the internal auditor, and he signed off on this particular proposal. As Under Sheriff stated last week, this is a program the Sheriff's Office would like to see how that works when the deputies get injured on the job, how quickly this company can help them go through the medical process so they can be back to work as soon as possible. And again, this is for a 1-year pilot project.
Commissioner Mejia,
No question.
Commissioner Edwards.
No, sir.
Nope. All right. Thank you, Under Sheriff. Good to go on 3C, 3D, and 3E. 3F and 3G are appointments. 3F is an appointment to the Hotel Motel Commission. 3G is appointment to the Timberland Regional Library Board of Trustees.
3F is for you to consider approving Mr. Brian Powell to the Hotel Motel Commission for the term of January 1st, 2022 to January 1st, 2025. And 3G is for your consideration to appoint Ms. Mary Beth Harrington to the Timberland Regional Library Board of Trustees and as a representative of Thurston County. And the term will be from December 1st, 2021 to December 1st, 2027.
Any questions from the board on those appointments?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Items 3H and I are voucher lists. One for the week of November 22nd, one for the week of November 29th. Questions from the board?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Let's jump right to department item 4A is an auditor item. Purchase a ballot sorting machine with Runbeck Election Services.
You also reviewed this item last week, Commissioner, and the auditor's office is requesting for to have a direct purchase of a sorting machine with Runbeck Agilus. And Runbeck Agilus is the name of the machine, as I understand, and the company is the Runbeck Election Services. And it allows the auditor's office to have a direct contract with this company since in 2015, Thurston County entered a cooperative purchasing agreement with First County. And First County in 2018 went through a request for proposals for election sorting machines with this particular company. And that provides the umbrella to have a direct contract with this particular company. Diana Benson is here to answer any particular questions related to this request.
Questions for Diana on this one?
No, sir.
Commissioner Edwards?
No questions.
Okay, yep. Thank you, Diana. Went through all these last week. 5A, Central Services, contract award.
She's got her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Diana.
Sorry, Commissioner Menzer. I just wanted to ask a point of clarification. Will this stay a department item or will this be consent? I thought last week Amy said it would be consent.
Department item. I think it
Okay.
would be good to, if you have the dollar amount this afternoon, that will be good to express that.
We do have the dollar amount, which is $230 plus tax and shipping. I do not know the exact amount of shipping yet. They're still working on that.
So we add that amount on the action And if you can also express that this afternoon, that would be good.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, good. Then we will go to item 5A, Central Services Contract Award for Countywide Janitorial.
Yeah, you reviewed this item last week, Commissioner, and they did have a lot of blanks, so I have here to provide you with the specifics. So on September 28, 2021, the Board of County Commissioners authorized to engage the Department of Enterprise Services with the state to go and seek janitorial companies for proposals to help us go through in the next few years on janitorial services. The current contract for janitorial services ends December 31st, 2021. The result of that was that all the 6 available janitorial companies had the opportunity to provide those quotes, and they selected a company to provide janitorial services as Seal X Pro, and the yearly amount is $484,195.20. And the performance of this contract will be from January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2023. And Robin Campbell is here to answer the particular questions related to this item.
I do have a question, sir.
Go ahead, Commissioner Edwards.
When did we go to a private contract from using county employees?
I want to say it was either 2014 or 2015.
Okay, and how does this compare, this dollar amount? And I know there's going to be an inflationary issue there, but are we pretty much roughly the same?
As the current contract?
Yeah, and then the one issue I'm wondering about is, okay, so we get a snow issue or some issue where it takes extra time. How is that addressed?
Okay, so to answer your questions, the current contract is $542,000 a year. So the new contract will actually cost the county less.
Okay.
And it includes additional sites for Mottman and the Wark. So we're getting more sites covered for less money with this new contract. As far as the bad weather, when we need to bring someone in and address the parking lots and that type of thing, snow removal, that is with our landscaper, and that is all part of the landscape contract.
Okay. Good enough, thank you. That's it for me, sir.
Commissioner Mejia?
So, yes, so this company, it's a different company than the one we have currently.
True.
Okay.
This company, what we chose to do this time was go with the DES master contract because DES has vetted all of the janitorial services that are on that contract as being capable of handling large government contracts. So we reached out to those 6 companies and offered the opportunity to bid. 3 attended the walkthrough. We received 2 bids, and this was the winning bidder.
I'm trying to, with the services, I know that some offices and departments get really touchy with it. Will they be offering the same kind of level of services that we've been receiving so far?
Yes.
Is that the plan?
Yes, and it should be better service because we've had some service gaps with the current provider.
Okay.
Even the enhanced services related to cleaning, high.
Yes, that's
services.
what the day porters are all part of this. Yep, all there.
Okay.
And I will actually be presenting this afternoon. Jason is on vacation.
Okay, and that covers 5A, it sounds like. 5B, bid award for long-term involuntary bed expansion.
Yeah, this is a brand new item. You have not reviewed this item, Commissioners, for your consideration. This is related for you to consider awarding the contract related to improvements on the triage facility. As you may recall, the triage facility has a somewhat of available square footage. You've had a conversation in the past, request what the Thurston Mason Thurston Mason Mental Health, I'm sorry, what is the Thurston Mason
EHASO.
DHSO was requesting to you for the board to consider adding additional beds to the triage facility. And the board authorized that project, and this particular process is on December 13. Yesterday, we received 9 bids to accommodate that particular project. And the successor, low bidder, is Birchhauser Construction of Olympia, and the total contract amount is $1,132,964. This is not paid by the county. This is coming from, I believe, from the Department of Commerce grant the DHL secure to provide this construction. So, and again, Robin is here to answer your particular questions. And again, this is a new item, you have not seen it.
So, and I apologize for walking it on this morning, but we just received the bids yesterday, and if we were to wait until your January 11 meeting, that would put the project, it would be a project delay and put them off the timeline.
Didn't you give us a heads up about this last week, though? I remember talking about ITA beds.
I think it was a related conversation, but not this particular contract. No, I did not bring this item for you.
You had approved the RFP going out.
Okay.
And this, it came in under budget. It's being overseen by Department of Commerce as well as the county and the BHASO.
This is a known local contractor as well, so that's good.
Yep. Commissioner?
How many beds will we have when this is done over there?
16.
16.
We currently have 10, this adds 6, which is the maximum that you can have and continue to be eligible for Medicaid.
Okay, thank you. If you don't mention that, I might to the public as well.
Oh, that's good, thank you.
Okay, good to go there. Then let's look at 5C, on-call design and engineering services contracts.
Yeah, for your consideration, Commissioners, also you reviewed this item last week to authorize the Assistant County Manager to extend the current on-call contracts for an additional year until December 31st, 2022. Back in May 2018, the Board of County Commissioners authorized the Central Services to issue a request for qualifications. The result of that process, we selected 16 different consultants. They have been providing services since July 2018, and this particular contract ends on the end of this year. This is to allow the department to continue to get access to those specific professional services, to continue to provide assistance to facility needs.
Question, Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
Commissioner Edwards?
And there's not a dollar amount because it fluctuates depending on the bid and all that thing, right? Or the job.
The job, the contract, each one has a table of rates that we use, but yep.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay, then let's move on to the 6A, resolution for property tax levy increase.
For your consideration, Commissioners, this is for you to consider approving a resolution authorizing an increase in the property tax revenue, both in dollars and percentage. It is associated with the maximum allowed by law of 1%. Robin described a little bit last week. You've had a good memory, Commissioner, related to when whatever is not the CPI, is a different measure of inflation. When goes below 1%, then the board needs to take 2 different actions. In this case, it's about 1%, and that is why you have a single action for you. Robin?
Right, so that would be the IPD, the implicit price deflator, which is sort of like, but not quite the same as the CPI, Consumer Price Index, but both of them are above 1%, so you do not need to take the additional action this year. So this increase, the levy increase is that odd one where we divide the new highest lawful levy by last year's actual levy, it looks like less than 1%, but the board is authorizing the full 1%, and it shows the dollar difference between those two numbers.
Commissioner Mejia?
No question, sir.
Yes, I do have a question about this.
Go ahead, sir.
It looks like inflationary costs are gonna hit as high as 10% this year. And that means our cost of doing business is gonna go up. And will this help offset that additional cost possibly? I mean, I don't know what the dollar amount's gonna come out, and I don't know if you know that at this point.
It absolutely does help. It helps. It does not cover. The levy, the 1% levy increase is an amount that's something less than $500,000 for the general fund in particular.
That's,
And our inflation, I mean, it's a 1% lift. It does not begin to cover 6 to 10% inflation.
but it looks like we might be struggling towards next year a little bit. Okay, good enough. I just want to be able to explain it. Thank you.
Appreciate that, sir. Okay, let's look at 6B, resolution for property tax levy certification.
Yeah, for your consideration, Commissioners, by law, the Board of County Commissioners needs to certify a property tax levy that needs to be submitted to the county assessor by tomorrow. The question that I have for Robin is the
road
levy
shift is,
needs to be
no,
changed,
that's
right?
too much. The resolutions have the appropriate number, but this one.
Yeah, so we'll
it should
change
be
that based on the decisions, preliminary decisions
2.5
that were
million.
made last week on that. So it's a 2.5 million on the road levy shift. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for spotting that. I had checked to make sure the dates were updated. The resolution itself has the correct amounts. But this is to have the precise dollar amounts that will go into each fund. Now, they're actually the maximum amount, the amount that goes in and gets deposited next year is a combination of things. But the assessor will update the values, the total value, any refunds. They'll update that at least one more, if not two more times before they certify the levy to the treasurer. But the board is required to certify by December 15th, and the numbers in this resolution are the highest possible amount that we can levy. The assessor tends to come down just a tiny bit in each of their updates. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about this.
I do have a question. How does this fit with our levy shift diversion business that we do? How does it fit in there?
So the board sets the levy. I do that worksheet that I've shared with the board. I calculate how much the highest lawful levy is without shift or diversion. Then for the general fund, you take out the amount that goes to public health and to the veterans funds. Then you add in the levy shift from roads and you add the diversion amount, and that's the amount that will get deposited. In the road levy, you calculate absent any shift or diversion, and then you remove those amounts. You remove the road shift on the worksheet. The diversion comes out as we go. So the amounts, again, are on the resolution, precisely how much goes to which fund.
Is this part of the CRAB resolution, our diversion?
The diversion is, CRAB has oversight, let's say. CRAB being the County Road Administrative Board. So we have to report to them every year. We have to ensure that the 1.5 million that's diverted is spent on activities that they deem appropriate, which are sheriff road deputies. We spend well in excess of 1.5 million on that activity. So we are, we have every year, even when we were disagreeing with CRAB, we every year have received our certificate of being.
A certificate of good standing.
Compliance.
Yeah.
And the certificate of good standing is critical for the county to receive gas tax.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Okay, very good. So are we good on 6B then? Everybody ready to move on to 6C, which is a resolution for Thurston County Council on Racial Equity and Inclusion.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. You reviewed this item last week, and a couple of occasions for your consideration is to approve a resolution establishing the Thurston County Council on Racial Equity and Inclusion. I believe Nicole sent an email with the revised comments that we have received so far, and we have not received any additional comments, I believe. So this item is for your consideration this afternoon, and Nicole is available to answer any questions related to this item.
Commissioner Mejia,
No questions, sir.
Commissioner Edwards.
No questions.
Okay, I went through the changes. Thank you, Nicole. Looks good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Very exciting.
I'm very excited as well.
Okay, 7A, Community Planning and Economic Development, Contract for Hearing Examiner and Administrative Hearing Examiner Services. Jeremy Davis is here.
Thank you, Commissioners. You review this item. The services for hearing examiners and administrative hearings officer services ends December 31st, 2021. The department went through the CPED through a request for proposal solicitations. The result of that process is for your consideration to award Sharon Rice Hearing Examiners PLLC to provide the similar services that she has been providing in the county for quite some time. And this is the performance of this contract is from January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2025. And Jeremy is here to answer additional perspective, provide additional perspective, answer any questions.
Anything for Jeremy on this item?
I guess I'd just ask Jeremy, things are gonna continue the same as they've been for the last few years, right?
As far as the hearing examiner contract, yes, sir.
Okay, good enough, thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. You've got the next item as well, which is a contract amendment with TRPC for the Boundary Review Board.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. Years ago, the Board of County Commissioners authorized to take the chief clerk services of the Boundary Review Board outside of the county, and at that point, Jeremy was the chief clerk of the Boundary Review Board. By going with a contract with the Thurston County Regional Council provides a little bit more objectivity. Not that Jeremy didn't have that objectivity, but I think it eliminates any particular perceived conflict of interest. We have been having this contract since 2018 with the Thurston Regional Planning Council, and they provide services related to any proposed annexations by any jurisdictions here in Thurston County. The amount is for $20,000, continues to be the same amount, and we pay based on the many different annexations that we might receive. And again, Jeremy's here to answer any questions related to this item.
No questions.
Nope. Okay, good to go on the Boundary Review Board. Thank you, Jeremy. Next is to set up joint public hearing with the City of Tumwater for Island Annexation Interlocal Agreement.
Yeah, following to the previous item, this is a proposed annexation the Board of County Commissioners received, and this is from the City of Tumwater, and encompasses many small areas within the unincorporated municipal boundaries of the City of Tumwater. And the proposed annexation is really to eliminate what we consider islands. That will be areas of the county the county jurisdictions that is located within the city boundaries. I appreciate the effort of the city of Tumwater to look holistically how eliminate this particular islands, a total of 12 within the municipal boundaries. The board received a briefing on this and agreed to have a joint public hearing as required by the new law. This particular public hearing is going to be virtual and it's going to be held on January 18th, 2022 at 7 in the afternoon. The reason for the time is when the city council meets on a regular basis at 7 in the afternoon. And since it will be hosted by the city of Tumwater, we will be working on the script to make sure that we have the process in place for the city of Tumwater to host. Anyways, to clarify, this is a virtual public hearing. It will not be public testimony considering the logistical challenges that we have two different places. Jeremy?
Thank you, County Manager Chavez. I don't have anything to add to that summary.
Anything from the board?
I'd just ask one question, sir. Does this go through the planning commission?
Well, already.
It's already done?
No, it doesn't go to the planning commission.
It does not.
It goes through the boundary review board, which has one written.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. Let's look at 7D. Action to set a public hearing on Development Code Docket Item CR5, Places of Worship Code Amendment.
Yeah, you also reviewed this item, Commissioners, and also reviewed the details of this item in our previous briefing, and you agreed to and requested the staff to move forward with having a public hearing set for you to receive public testimony related to the changes on this particular docket item, Places of Worship Code Amendment. Last week, you reviewed this item. It was proposed to have the public hearing on January 11th, 2022. And I believe it was a request to delay or slide this public hearing to January 18, 2022, eliminating any potential conflicts with the Board of Health. So Maya is here to answer any particular questions related to this item.
Go ahead, Commissioner Edwards.
And they're both hearings are going to be on the 18th of January.
Yeah,
one in the afternoon and one in the
at
evening.
3 and the other one at 7.
So one will be in person here in the boardroom. Okay.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
Okay, good to go there. Item 8A is a contract with Interpersonal Frequency for web content management.
Thank you, Commissioners. You reviewed this item last week. This is related to upgrading our web page here in the county. We've had a lot of conversations related to what this item is all about. And this revised motion requests the board to authorize the Director of Information Services, Technology, IT, to sign the contract with Interpersonal Frequency for $533,212, including a 10% contingency to implement the web changes that we need here in Thurston County. And I think there was a lot of conversations related to this item, and Dennis is available to answer additional questions this morning.
Commissioner Mejia?
I do have a question, and it's in relation to the position we just adopted where, before it was going to be public health and now it's going to be here. Are they going to be working directly with them and Megan to basically get all of this set up? Is that the main duties of that position?
Yes. Good recollection.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yes, of that 533,000, is that kind of going to be an even split between current expense and other?
No, that's gonna be all ARPA money.
You decided.
Oh,
you said
okay,
ARPA.
I'm gonna, thank you.
But you may recall the conversation because there is a yearly, fee.
Yes,
And that will be part of the internal services rates that will be
And
established.
that will be allocated.
That will be
Okay,
allocated.
thank you.
But initial investments are.
Thank you for reminding me of that.
And the continuum can't be charged to ARPA for, no.
No.
Okay, thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
9A, Public Health, Choice Youth Marijuana Prevention Education Contract, Amendment Number 6. Chris Hawkins is here from Public Health.
Yeah, you reviewed this item, Commissioner, and this is for your consideration to approve the Choice Regional Health Network Amendment Number 6, which the effective date of the contract doesn't change. It's from July 1st, 2021 through June 30, 2022. What it does is adds $25,000 for a total cumulative total cost of $93,000. And again, this is just to add additional money to this contract to continue to provide the services. And Chris Hawkins is here if you have additional questions.
One question, pass-through money, isn't it?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Good to go.
Good job, Chris.
Thank you, Commissioners.
10A, Project Prospectus and Local Agency Agreement, Johnson Point, Hawks Prairie Intersection Improvement Project.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner.
Public Works.
The Public Works Department was awarded a federal grant of $2,966,673 from the Federal Highway Administration. This particular grant requires a match of 13.5%, and that match will come from the county road fund. And this is for improvements at the intersection of Johnson Point and Hawks Prairie Road. One of the first steps that we need to do in order to access the grant is to sign the project prospectus with the state, the local agency from the Washington State Department of Transportation. So this particular item requests for you to authorize the department director to go ahead and sign the project prospectus so we can secure the federal grant. Ryan is here from Public Works to answer any questions.
No
Any
questions.
questions?
No question.
Okay, good to go. 10B, Public Works, resolution to apply for a grant from the Fish Barrier Removal Board regarding Country Club at Green Cove culvert replacement.
Items B and C, 10B and C are similar. And this is a resolution that the department is asking the board to approve in order to apply for funding related to fish barrier passage. 10B is related to the country club for $300,000, and 10C is for $500,000 request for the Thompson Creek Road. And both are fish barrier passage removal projects. Last week, the board asked the question whether is this necessary? Yes, is a little bit of unusual request by the state that you actually need to take a legislative action in order for the county to apply for these grants. And this has been a past practice. So, and Elena Fernandez is here to answer any questions related to those two items.
Commissioner Mejia?
No questions at this time, sir.
Mr. Edwards?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. I have none either. Thank you, Elena. So that's B and C we just covered together.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay, then that's just to be sure before we go to D, RFQ for wastewater facility planning in Grand Mound.
Yeah, Commissioners, you reviewed this item as well last week as for the benefit of the public. And you know, the Grand Mound area is growing. It's a rapidly developing area. It's becoming a hub for economic development. And as a result, it's putting a pressure on the wastewater utility that we have in place. This particular proposal is for you to authorize the Public Works to issue a request for qualification to secure the services of a professional firm that will help us to determine what is it that we need to do at the wastewater facility in Grand Mound to accommodate for future needs in terms of expansion and type of improvements related to the plant itself. The result of this process, the department will come back with a proposal for you to consider awarding the contract to the selected firm as a result of the request for proposal. Joe is here from Public Works, if you have any questions.
No question.
No?
Any questions?
Okay, no, good. Item 10E is request for proposal for Lake Lawrence submerged vegetation contract, and looks like 10F is the same for Long Lake.
Yes, and just to be, Mr. Harverson provided I sent you an email related to the Lawrence Lake and urging the commissioners, I'm paraphrasing that email, to consider approving this because as timely is of the essence from his perspective to secure the contract for services that will be provided both in Lawrence Lake and Long Lake as part of the normal vegetation control on those lakes. Also last week, I believe Commissioner Mincer asked the question as to where will be the space or the opportunity to have a conversations from some of the comments that we receive, I believe, from the IPM, that is the prescription group committee. And early, I think a couple of months ago, you had a briefing on one of the Board of Health where this group provided some opportunities as to how we can probably look enhancing the water quality and eliminating perhaps some of the chemicals that was put on the lake. I had a conversation with Art Story, I believe he's online. He provided additional perspective as to when we may be having a conversation related to this particular item and for the board to have a more comprehensive discussion related to this. Art?
Good morning, and as Ramiro indicated, I'm Art Starry, the Environmental Health Division Director. And you were, as he indicated, there was a discussion at the August Board of Health meeting when you were reviewing the 2020 County Pesticide Management Plan, or actually report, and questions came up about how the lakes were being managed. And there's a comment or a letter from the Pest and Vegetation Management Advisory Committee, or PIVMAC, who had some concerns about the increased pesticide use in some of the lakes. So subsequent to that meeting, Patrick Soderberg, who's the county's Pest and Vegetation Management Coordinator, met with myself and with Tim Wilson and Paula Cracknell, who's on the phone. I mean, it looks like she's on the meeting too, if she wants to chime in on this. But we did talk about how kind of developing a long-term strategy for the lakes that would be address some of the concerns brought forward by the PIVMAC. And basically, I think if you were to look at the letter, it was indicating that they can't quite tell how the pesticide use aligns with a long-term strategy for the lake and what the long-term goals and things are. And there's a lot of stuff that I know that the lakes folks have done that maybe wasn't brought to the attention of the PIVMAC, but that was nonetheless the question that they had. So, so Paula, Tim, Patrick, and I have met a couple of times actually to start talking about that. And we do plan to come back to you with a briefing early in 2022 to talk about that. Again, kind of look at what the long-term strategy might be, what efforts it would take, what the costs might be, and how to address some of the concerns of the advisory committee as well, while still providing a strategy for managing the lakes for the benefit of the different users who are out there, whether they're the public or the residents of the lake or others. And so we don't have a complete solution for you, but we are working on it and do plan to come back to you early next year.
Okay, sounds good. Art, any questions from the board about the specific item we have to address today? The contracts.
I don't have a question, I have a comment.
Go ahead, sir.
I just want to comment that Mr. Halverson did a pretty in-depth and condensed dissertation of what the lakes have been doing and what they intend, but we'll have further time to talk about that. We'll just, it is a timed issue though. So.
Right, and this, I should have said that as well, that based on the timing that's necessary for, for any actions to take place on the lakes, you do need to have the request for proposals put out. So there's, we understand that there's a need to do that, and time is an issue.
Thank you, Art.
Commissioner Mejia?
So my concerns are still there. I read through Mr. Halverson's email. And I mean, when we talk about water quality, what is, I feel like different people define it different ways. But for me, I'm okay with letting the request for proposals up. I really just want to see this presentation sooner rather than later, Art, just because I believe this is very important. You know, I feel like, you know, the rate of pesticides and where we're at, and how much, you know, our lakes are adding to that, it's concerning. And so I really do want to have that discussion on where do we go from here.
And that, yeah, we'll certainly do our best on that. The one caveat I'll put out is that Patrick Soderberg, the person who's really has the experience working with folks on these management strategies, is on medical leave. And so when he gets back, we'll schedule this. But he's been out for a bit. We expect that he'll be back early next year.
Okay, I agree with Commissioner Mejia, and I would ask the public to listen if they're interested in this. There was an extended discussion last week's meeting too. So putting to what was said there with what you heard today, hopefully you have an idea of where the board's headed. So that's good. Thank you, Art.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that covers E and F. And so let's go to 11A, 2021 budget amendment number 2.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. For your consideration is to consider approving the 2021 budget amendment. That will be number 2. Thank you, Commissioner Edwards, for pointing that out.
So number 2 or number 3?
It's number 2. And Robin Campbell, Assistant County Manager, walk you through the details of this proposed amendment. Maybe a couple, 2-3 weeks ago. I didn't have any comments at that point, but certainly Robin is here to answer any particular questions related to this item.
No comments at this time.
Nothing from the board?
No,
Not
sir.
at this time, no.
This is really just going what you walked us through last week, right, Robin?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so I don't have any questions either. We covered it in detail at that session. Okay, great. Well then, at that point, who knows exactly what time that'll be, but we will go through any commissioner reports, county manager review our schedule, which is just really the rest of this week. There are no board meetings scheduled for Christmas week or New Year's week. So this is scheduled to be the last board meeting of 2021. Okay, it's 10:19. Let's just get started maybe with Board of Health, because I don't think it'll take long to review that.
Commissioner, just a point of clarification. The board does have a board meeting on Friday in the morning where you will be considering approval of the budget. So that will be, in essence, your last official business board meeting for the year. Okay,
yeah, I was speaking mainly of Tuesdays, but yeah, there's stuff for the rest of this week for at least for me, packed to the gills. So we'll be trying to get all the business done here.
Yeah.
So let's look at the Board of Health. Shelley Slaughter's here, our administrator, and meeting would be called to order. Scheduled for 3:30, might be a little later depending on how we do at 2 p.m. We'll have approval of agenda and meeting minutes from October 12th because there was no November Board of Health meeting. We'll have a proclamation regarding HIV and AIDS Awareness Month.
Good morning again. Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, we are requesting that the Board of Health proclaim December 2021 as HIV/AIDS Awareness Month. We just celebrated December 1st as World AIDS Day, and we hope that this will encourage residents to learn more about HIV, to get tested for HIV as part of their regular health care, to take steps to prevent transmitting HIV and work to reduce the negative impacts of stigma, which is something that is really important in terms of our health equity efforts. And Patrick Judkins is here. He will be presenting this item, and I believe we'll have some special guests along with him. Patrick, anything you would like to add?
Just that our special guest will be Katrina Miller from the State Department of Health.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. Opportunity, anything from the board regarding the proclamation?
No, sir.
Hearing none. Opportunity for the public to address the Board of Health. Department item number 1 under section 4 is emergency ordinance for Article 1 of the Thurston County Sanitary Code.
Yes, and we have Art Starry here to share more about this item, but on a high level, this is a request for the Board of Health to approve the ordinance to suspend and amend provisions of Article 1 of the Thurston County Sanitary Code to authorize modified hearing requirements due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The previous amendment that you made expires on December 31st. We still have a COVID-19 pandemic and would like to continue to conduct business in this manner to best serve our citizens and protect the health and safety of everyone until the emergency is declared over. Anything else to add or share about this item, Art?
No, you've got it all covered there. So again, this is something that we think is important, and actually it's a feature. The ability to have remote hearings is something we want to carry forward in the future, but we'll take care of that at another time. But this is to deal with the COVID stuff, as Shelley indicated.
Questions from the board?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Next item is item 5, Thurston Thrives update.
So yes, this item is a year-end review of all of the successes of Thurston Thrives, which is our collective health impact effort and strategy that we have implemented in Thurston County. The Board of Health actually founded Thurston Thrives in 2013. There's more than 300 organizations that participate in Thurston Thrives in various different ways, including on the coordinating council and on various action teams to move the needle on social determinants of health. So we will have today Jessica Houghton and Megan Weiss from the Thurston Thrives, from representing Thurston Thrives for the Chamber Foundation, which is the backbone organization that we contract with to convene this effort, as well as Chris Hawkins, who will be there from our staff to help to recap all the great things that happened this year and describe the focus on racial equity and health disparities in the coming year. Chris, anything to add?
You covered it well, Shelley. I would just say that there is a slight reordering of the slides that you see in your packet draft for the agenda. The Thurston County Chamber Foundation wants to talk about the focus on equity, racial equity, as kind of the latter part of the presentation. So they'll start with a kind of overview of Thurston Thrives and then go into the action team accomplishment details and then go into the equity. So it's a little bit of a change in the order of how the slides are, but the content is what you see in your package, just a little different ordering. And they were wondering if they would be welcome to come to present in person at the meeting today. Megan Weiss was asking about that. Just wondered if there's sufficient capacity in the room to do that.
Yeah, it should be not a problem. Ramiro, any issue with that?
No, yeah, and we welcome any members of the public who would like to come in person as well as presenters.
Yep, it's a hybrid meeting, just like the board meeting, so it should be fine.
Great.
Commissioner Edwards, any questions about the Thurston Thrives item?
No, sir.
Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
Okay. Item 6 is wintertime safety.
So yes, this next item is going to be very timely for our December Board of Health meeting. And Chris Hawkins will be one of the presenters for this, along with Sammy Bird from our Food Environmental Safety Program. And we will also have a special guest from the Washington Traffic Safety Organization to help present this item. So the focus of this will be on food safety during the holiday season when many people gather, and how to ensure that you are keeping yourself and your family and friends safe by doing things like hand washing and properly cooking your food, as well as taking steps to avoid impaired driving and traffic safety accidents, which we have a much higher proportion during this time of year. And that's why we will have the Washington Traffic Safety Commission manager here to talk about initiatives that they are promoting to prevent accidents and safety during this time of year. Anything that you would like to add further to that, Chris, that I may have missed?
I think you covered it well, Shelley. Erica Esqueda will be the presenter that we have from Washington Traffic Safety Commission. So I'll introduce her as part of the presentation and try to include some other traffic safety related to the season. Obviously, low light conditions at this time of year when it's the longest nights of the year, and plenty of wet weather and kind of overcast conditions too, limiting visibility. So just throwing in some points about keeping yourself safe if you're out there using active transportation as well.
Commissioner Edwards, anything?
No, sir.
Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
Okay. The Board of Health members will have a chance to report on health-related activities and accomplishments. Dr. Abdulmalik will give a report, and Shelley will give her final report. And anything you want us to know, Shelley, about that?
I will be covering our department accomplishments as usual, because there are many that we'd like to recognize. And also, upon your request, providing a brief overview and timeline of implementation of Substitute Senate Bill 1152, which requires the expansion of local boards of health by July of 2021.
Great, perfect. Thank you for that. Okay, well then that wraps up Board of Health, and it's 10:29. Let's take 10 minutes and reconvene at 10:40 for item 5, proclamations and awards.
Thank you. Yes.
You are live, Commissioner.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, we're good to go. Okay, it's 10:43, picking back up on this December 14th agenda setting work session for the Board of County Commissioners. We left off with item 5, proclamations and awards. I don't think we have anything there. Is that right, Amy?
Correct. There are no proclamations.
These are just standing items. Advisory boards and commissions, item 6.
There are also no advisory boards or commissions. Commissioner Mejia.
Now, I do have a question about that. Okay, Commissioner Mejia, go ahead.
I do have a question. My question's in regards to the letter we got from the Planning Commission. And I know how we left it off was that Commissioner Menser was going to first reach out to Ms. Donna Halverson, and I believe she went ahead and stepped down. But there was still Mr. Raul Delone, and I'm not sure if we're going to proceed with that into a letter.
Yeah, and in fact, that letter went out today.
Okay.
And I signed that on your behalf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that went out this morning.
I would say that on the Planning Commission, even if Mr. DeLeon didn't get removed, I believe there's like 3 openings and they were having, so I would encourage the commissioners to think about their appointments there. And I would like to see, in my case, my seat is an at-large seat, so I could potentially appoint someone from anywhere in the county. So if anyone's applied, Amy, and I knew that at least one person had, and I was told yesterday that another person had. So I'd like to see anyone who's ever applied for the Planning Commission that's still active, so I can take a look at who I might want to make as my appointment.
Okay, I'll get those over to your office.
Okay.
I guess I'd say the same thing. Just when you make chair a copy, make me a copy too.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Let's go to PIO check-in.
Good morning, Commissioners. Megan Porter, Public Information Supervisor. I do not have any updates for you this morning.
Okay, legislative update?
Can you give me just a minute, Greg, to the PIO commissioners?
Absolutely.
I'd just like to acknowledge Megan Porter on her 5 years of service to Thurston County. Congratulations on this milestone, and I'd just like to formally give you the 5-year certificate, Megan.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Here's to 5 more years.
All right, thank you, Megan. Okay, legislative update,
I don't have any specific updates for you commissioners on that.
briefing or public hearing decisions pending.
Nothing is pending.
Then we jump right to 10 commissioner items. Number 1 is long-term agriculture follow-up.
Yeah, thank you, commissioners. This is a follow-up to the briefing you received related to item CPA 16 of the comp plan amendment, and that's related to the agricultural long-term agricultural maps. The staff provided you with 2 options. Option one was to go ahead and develop the map based on the current criteria. Option number 2, staff provided that the option of opening all the criteria to go through another public process, and in order to end up developing the map. As a result of that conversation, the board requested to see what is a hybrid. Meaning option number 3, where it can open a specific criteria as opposed to open all the criteria. So that's halfway in between, I believe. You have a document included in your packet this morning, and Maya Tipo and Chris Chapeau are here to walk you through that. Who's taking the lead, Maya or Chris? Chris?
No, go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. Maya Tipo, Senior Planner with Community Planning. So thank you for summarizing the first 2 options, County Manager I'll just give a brief overview of the third option and how that differs from the other two and what that means in terms of staff time and length of the project, and also meeting some of the requests of stakeholders and the Growth Management Hearings Board appeal. So the third option that was developed is a hybrid option, as the county manager stated, and instead of opening all of the criteria like option 2, it would do a targeted opening. So targeted review, choosing specific criteria to review and potentially update, and then after that process, updating the maps. In terms of timing that would be required to complete an option like that, option 3 would, like option 2, it would still extend into 2023. So option 1, we're proposing that at the earliest, a possible action could be at the end of December 2022. Option 2, which is the opening all the criteria, could go into the end of 2023 or beyond. And option 3 would still be looking at the end of 2023 for a potential final action. In terms of potential increase to long-term agriculture, we could see an increase in all 3 of these options. Option 1, we went over in the brief that we could potentially see up to 3 times the amount of increase in long-term agriculture. Options 2 and 3 could reduce or increase from our current designated long-term agriculture. So the acreage would really be dependent on what changes are made to the criteria. And in terms of professional service needs and cost comparison, options 2 and 3, professional services would likely be needed to facilitate stakeholder review and processing of the revised designation criteria. All 3 of these options respond to the Growth Management Hearings Board case, which requests that the county look at and update soils criteria. So any of these scopes will respond to that case. We'll look at the soils criteria no matter which option the board moves forward with. And how does this respond to requests of the community and the stakeholder groups that are involved in this project update? So option 1 does not specifically open designation criteria. So that was a specific request of stakeholders in the community, and it does not respond to that request. Option 2 opens all of the criteria, so it does respond to some of the stakeholder requests to look at these again. And option 3, the new hybrid option, does open some criteria. So it's dependent on which criteria the board would direct staff to look into further. Stakeholders have requested very specific criteria be looked at, and that's included in this packet as well. So it would just be dependent on which criteria the board directs staff to look at further. And I'm happy to answer any questions on this. I know this is a lot of information, but just to summarize in terms of timing, we would still be looking at end of 2023 for this hybrid option 3. It does still meet some of the requests of the stakeholders and the communities, depending on which criteria are open.
Commissioner Mejia, any questions or comments?
No, sir, not at this time.
Commissioner Edwards?
Did this or does this get reviewed by the Planning Commission? And did they get a chance to review this since the third option has been put in place?
So this will be reviewed by the Planning Commission. Any maps or adjustments to the designation criteria will be reviewed. At this stage, we're just asking for the board to set the scope. And once that scope is set for the project, any future changes will go through the Planning Commission process and then come back to the board for review as well.
Okay, so they haven't seen any of this yet, right?
Correct.
Okay. What, do we have anything in here, or would that come as some future portion? We talked about acreage and maybe including 5 acres or something like that. Is that new in here?
So those kinds of questions would be, they would come at a later time to the board and we would discuss that in more detail. Options 2 and 3, we would have those kinds of discussions, whereas option 1, we would not, so.
Okay, then maybe in reference to some of the verbiage here under 1, 2, and 3, it mentions the criteria and then specific criteria. Who selects that criteria and who determines what is specific criteria? Okay, that's the answer.
So the board, that's really the direction that we're looking for.
Okay.
And again, the option number 1, as Maya stated, is just keeping the existing criteria and develop the map, right? Option number 3 is opening all the criteria and then developing a map. Option number 3, as proposed today, takes a specific criteria without opening every single one and developing a map. The criteria that is proposed in number 3 is on page 4 of 9 of the document.
And so if the board chooses to move forward with option 3, the next steps following that would be to schedule another briefing to talk about which specific criteria, because we would need specific direction on which. We don't need that answer today. We could certainly set up a briefing to talk about that a little bit more.
And we expected, are we gonna make a decision on this today?
No, it's no decisions providing direction. If you like to explore option number 3, where the board will have the opportunity to specifically go to what criteria you want to open it, then as Maya stated, we'll follow up with a briefing in more detail what specific criteria you would like to open. Or at this point, the board can provide the directions and open all the criteria. And we can go that direction as well. So it's really at this point, as Maya is stating, is trying to form the scope of work for staff to work.
And you're looking for that direction today?
I hope so. But again, if you don't feel comfortable, we can come back with another briefing.
I have to say, I think this is a more complicated issue than what we ought to be doing in 5 minutes. So that's all.
If I could, and Commissioner Edwards, I respect you needing more time. I reached out to, spoke with members of the Ag Committee, the Community Farmland Trust, and Sierra Club. They wanted to see the criteria, the exact, I'm duplicating, I guess I didn't need to do all that work because you guys were already there, because they wanted to see the exact criteria that you've got listed out as the ones to be looked at. And so I'm supporting that approach. Option 3 with the specific criteria that have been identified in page 4 of 9. So that's where I'm at. If you need more time, that's fine, but I think that's where I'm going to land on this.
So you, sir, are saying option 3 is your preference?
Yeah, I'm saying, let's not look at all the criteria, but let's look at a few more than just the soils, and those specifically being the predominant parcel size, the block requirement, and the restriction on urban LTA designation. And those are exactly what's listed out there on page 4. That's what I heard from the community people I talked to.
In this, I'm just showing Commissioner what the criteria 5 is what he was hoping to see.
Issue, yeah.
And that will be looked at if under that option, without having to open all of it.
Okay.
And if it takes a little longer, then it takes a little longer. But better to get it right. This is a big thing, and it's not something we're going to do every year. It's something we're going to do once in a while. So I think, good to take a look at it.
So I reached out to some ag committee members as well because I was, where I was leading at last time was with option 2 of like, okay, well, if we're gonna kind of do it, let's just go all the way. But looking at option 3 right now with what Maya has described, I think it kind of gets us where we want to be. So
Okay.
I'm okay with that, but I'm okay with saying Commissioner Roberts if you need more time.
Well, we're not gonna have any more meetings this year. Is this a timed element? That's what I'm wondering about.
Nothing is critical, but it gives staff to start moving forward and start working on those options for you. That's really the intent of this conversation. Again,
But no matter what, we're talking about 13 months away or something, right?
yeah, there's gonna be plenty of opportunities for the board, for the planning commission to get down to the level of detail that before you can consider approving anything. So
I have to say, I've got to call into one individual. I haven't got involved in ag business, and that's the only reason I'm kind of hanging fire on this. If timing is not an issue, then I'd just soon catch this at our next meeting, if that's okay.
That's fair enough.
'Cause I think I'm with you on 3, but I'm not 100%, so.
All right, let's take this up at our next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, I'll bring this item at your next available meeting. Okay, January 4th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maya. Okay, does that cover where we needed to go, Ramiro? On
Yes,
that one?
thank you, appreciate it.
Item 2 is 2022 boards and commissions assignments discussion.
I distributed a revised copy. I realized that I made a mistake, so I'll walk you through what this is. This is again I'm sorry. This is a chart that I believe you are familiar with. Every year we go through this. And what I have presented to you is a draft form, a suggestion as to what will be for your consideration. The chair of the Board of County Commissioners, the Board of Health, as well as the Transportation Benefit District. Also, what I highlighted in yellow is the changes because some of those boards and commissions requires the chair to participate on that. And my recommendation for you to consider, and you can debate this, is for the 2022, for Commissioner Mejia be the chair of the Water County Commissioners, Commissioner Mesa to be the vice chair, and Commissioner Edwards, commissioner. Then the Board of Health, the chair to be Commissioner Menser, vice chair Commissioner Edwards. And the Transportation Benefit District, Commissioner President Commissioner Menser, Vice President Commissioner Mejia, and Commissioner Edwards. So what I have done through this process, I did not change any assignments except for the yellow and I explained what the orange means. And the yellow is if Commissioner Mejia is the chair of 2022, those are the required assignments. The chair needs to participate on those committees. On the orange, I suggested that perhaps Commissioner Menser should remain on that, and that is related to the Capitol Lake Estuary project with the Department of Enterprise Services. That's the only change, and that I believe can be delegated if the board agrees. So besides that, I did not change any assignments. So just to give you a rundown, and this is by the numbers.
Real quick, Ramiro, I think you got I don't think you got the right one. I think the Capitol Lake is under Capitol Lake.
Oh, yeah, sorry, my apologies, is up, yep.
So that should be the orange one that stays with me. And DES asked if we could keep consistency there since they're in the final phase.
Do you track what he's saying?
So the Capitol Lake lower Deschutes.
That to be Commissioner Menser for your consideration, that would be the orange. And the bottom, the one that I have in orange should be Commissioner Mejia. Okay.
Which I don't think, Commissioner Mejia, I don't think that the DES Community Roundtable, I don't think that's even met during the last year. It's a very infrequent thing if it meets at all. So, but yeah.
That's, yeah, no,
Okay, so.
Same with library board. I don't think that has not met since I've been a chair. So those two are just kind of, your name's listed, but you don't actually meet.
So,
Can I ask, are we in the comments?
no,
section?
just the last numbers that I'd like to provide. Based on this, and it's just by the numbers, Commissioner Edwards has 14 assignments, Commissioner Mejia 16 assignments, and Commissioner Minzer 11. So there's an opportunity to shift between Commissioner Mejia and Commissioner Minzer. If the board would like to just remain status quo for the most part on the assignments. That's all I have.
Go ahead, Commissioner Mejia.
So I was gonna say so I'm in the process of trying to join the CRAB board, and I'm kind of in a lot of the transportation related committees. So with the Transportation Benefit District, I would like to kind of keep it for a second year just so I can give consistency to that, if that's okay. I know that a lot of the meetings are canceled, but as I'm kind of slowly finding my way through what other counties are doing, I kind of want to give it that continuance if possible.
Absolutely fine with
I'm
me.
not wrestling, twisting your arm for it.
Commissioner Edwards.
You're not twisting my arm.
A suggestion is for the Transportation Benefit District for Commissioner Mejia to be the president and Commissioner Minzer the vice president. Any feedback on that?
Show me that one again.
The Transportation Benefit District.
Oh, you're up here.
And Commissioner Mejia and Commissioner Minzer. Flip flop on that.
I have no problem with that.
Okay, so.
And then another one that I want to comment on is the Mayor's Forum. I see that has an asterisk on it.
Yeah, that should be Mejia then.
Did I miss one?
Yeah, you missed Mayor's Forum.
I apologize. So yeah, that should be Commissioner Mejia.
And you're and just so you're aware, we're only invited every other month to that. So it's not every month, it's once every 2 months.
You know, maybe you could break the barrier down on that, because when I attended that one time, we got kicked out altogether, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't even get a chance to say anything, so it had to do with something that happened prior to my arrival.
Yeah, since I believe we have reached a good working relationship with the mayors, I believe.
Okay.
And then, sorry, just one more.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then the tourism promotion area, my recommendation is that has in the past had a commissioner or representative, but we sit there as an ex officio member, and there's really, I know why it was done in the past, but it's.
You control their money, you control their budget. I understand you're a non-voting member. We have the MOU with the cities. You represent the government of Thurston County that controls this action.
I mean, my recommendation would be to leave it blank, just because the meetings, I've attended all of their meetings. I think I couldn't attend 2 because they're kind of on a rotating basis. It's kind of what everyone's schedule fits like, and then we get told pretty, and so for me, if, my recommendation would be to leave it blank, just because and just to have check-ins with Annette Pitts, but it's kind of, to have a commissioner sit there.
You can delegate it to staff if you so choose. Your backup is the county auditor. Yeah.
Is that
And
auditor or staff?
I think that in the past, she's attended once or twice on behalf of a commissioner. I've attended many of the meetings, especially when they're talking about their budget. I try to go. They're for some reason, I'm not getting notice of the meetings anymore. But,
It's because they're not on a, they're set pretty randomly. I mean.
well,
Who all
that's a problem
sits on it?
then.
Who all sits on it?
So the board is composed of representatives from local hotels that have 50 or more beds. It's a mandate of the MOU that enables us to collect the tax. So, I mean, if they're meeting only randomly, I think that's a concern.
I think their meetings are pretty thorough. It's just, I honestly would, and that's why I'm not like volunteer, asking Commissioner Edwards or Commissioner Menser to take it over. It's just because
I think Jenica might be a good choice to attend.
There you go.
Yeah.
That makes for a pretty good fit, it sounds like to me.
So maybe suggestion, just leave the assignment with you, Commissioner Mejia, and just delegate that to Jenica to attend on your behalf. Will that work?
Sure.
I have two comments on this, Romero. I'm just looking at it quickly. One is I wanted to clarify on the WASAC. We were going to split the assignments between Board of Directors and Legislative Steering Committee. I know Commissioner Mejia has attended Legislative Steering Committee, and there might be more you've got me on Legislative Steering Committee and her on Board of Directors. I just wanted to check on that because I'm happy to do either one. Board of Directors is a little drier. It's just kind of the budget, and it's like several half-day meetings. Legislative Steering Committee is weekly Friday Zooms like during the session, and then it kind of drops off, and then there's just a couple of meetings the second half of the year. But I guess the new things that you're taking on, if there's any other committee you wanted that something I had in the past that you got, I'm happy to have what I've got, or I'm happy to take on one of your other responsibilities, anyone you'd want to give me, just because I know you'd be taking on a few extra things here with the chair.
On that 7 a.m. meeting? I'm just joking.
Yeah, there is an opportunity for.
That's transportation, I know.
Just to balance the number of assignments, and again, just by the numbers, I think Commissioner Mejia needs to probably send at least 3 assignments to you, Commissioner Menser.
And that's fine. I will say some of the chair's assignments, as I pointed out, don't meet as frequently as some of the others.
Yeah.
Things like the law library board, you're really just a name on a list that's never met. The DES Community Officials Roundtable, it might have met once. I'm not sure that it even did. Canvassing board meets at elections. Finance committee meets quarterly. There is some training involved there, so I would consider that a regular assignment. But there's a couple. But I'm certainly willing to take whatever Commissioner Mejia would like to have me take.
See, some of my committees also didn't. Emergency Food and Children Program, that met twice this year. The North Lewis Industrial Access Steering Committee, that never met. The other one that I was on, the Lucky Eagle 2% Committee, that also never met. So
That's a worry too.
So there's some committees that I have that have never met. So I don't know if it's because
North Lewis Industrial Access is actually my district. I think we gave it to you because I had so many last year. We were just trying to balance the numbers, but you can put my name back on that because I actually have met with that group once, and it is in my district, I believe.
Okay.
So Commissioner, how about if we go from the top and just quickly go down, just to give Commissioner Edwards the opportunity to, weigh in on some of the conversations.
We've made some changes, right?
And that's what, let me walk you through this, okay?
Okay, you're gonna start on top.
Yeah, Board of County Commissioners, Commissioner Mejia, the chair, Vice Chair Menser, and Commissioner Edwards. And you don't approve this because you're gonna be bringing this for a formal assignments on January 4th. That will be the only item of your first meeting.
Okay.
So just thumbs up at this point.
Yep.
Okay. Board of Health, Commissioner Mesa, the chair, Vice Chair, Commissioner Edwards, and Commissioner Mejia, Commissioner. Okay. Transportation Benefit District, Commissioner Mejia, President, Vice President, Commissioner Mesa, Commissioner Edwards. Okay, good. Now, I'm just gonna walk through, if you wanna stop or change, please stop. Alliance for a Healthy South Sound, and I'm gonna label, I'm gonna state the primary assignment and the alternate, and then the staff representation when applies. Okay? And you see on the staff representation in yellow because that changed staffing as well, okay? Alliance for Healthy South Sound, Menser, Mejia, Christina Chateau. Animal Services, Mejia, Edwards. Area Agency on Aging, Edwards, Mejia. The Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services, Menser, Mejia. And also on the third Thursday, the BHO office is also Mejia and Edwards and Mejia. That's the alternate on the two.
So the main ones are Commissioner Menser and Commissioner Edwards, correct?
Yeah,
Right.
and you're the backup of both, Commissioner Mejia. Canvassing Board, Mejia, Menser, and that's required to be the chair. Capital Lake Estuary, DES, suggestion is to be Commissioner Menser to continue to be part of that. The alternate will be Commissioner Mejia. Cascade Pacific Action Alliance, Edwards, Mejia. Chehalis Basin Flood Authority, Menser, Mejia, and Christina Chateau. Chehalis Basin Partnership, Menser, Mejia, Christina Chateau. DES Community Officials Roundtable, Mejia, Menser,
Does,
Romero Chavez.
I mean, Ty, is that one of the ones that you want to keep since you have both the Capitol Lake, just so there's some continuum?
I don't think that, this one, I don't think has ever met. I don't know what it's, I don't even know if it relates to Capitol Lake.
Okay.
That's easy.
Disability Board, Edwards, Mejia. Economic Development Council, Edwards, Mejia. Emergency Food and Shelter Program, Mejia and Menser, Tom Webster. EMS Council, Edwards, Mejia. Finance Committee, Mejia, Menser. Fire Commissioner Association, Edwards, Mejia.
Wait a minute. Finance Committee, what was Finance
Mejia
Committee?
and Menser.
That one has to be the chair of the board.
It has to be the chair.
Yeah.
So this is Mejia,
So
right?
this is the revised that I give you.
Oh, God. You gotta put numbers, dates, page numbers, something on this stuff. Okay, good enough.
Okay, to move forward. And the Fire Commission Association, Edwards, Mejia. Thurston County Fair Board, Edwards, Mejia. Next page. Inner City Transit, Mejia, Menser. Law and Justice Council, Mejia, Menser, Mejia. The Law Library Board, Mejia, Menser. Lodge and Tax Advisory Committee, Edwards, Mejia. Lot, Menser, Mejia. Lucky Eagle Casino, 2%, Mejia, Edwards.
They've never met. This is one of the ones where I don't know what they do either.
So we should have a conversation about that.
Okay.
Let me just say one thing.
Yes, sir.
On that. On the Lucky Eagle 2%.
You want to switch then?
Well, I'm just wondering about, it's in Commissioner Menser's district and he interacts there more, but maybe is there some thought of having kind of an outside commissioner there? I don't know. It doesn't matter to me.
It's a three-way agreement between the tribe, the county, and the Washington State Gambling Commission.
Oh yeah, no, but the representation on it, I mean, I'm up on that.
I can take that off Commissioner Mejia's plate if she wants. It's in case, if we need to get involved.
I was just thinking it's in your district, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that okay? So,
I-
Is something wrong with that, Rob?
I hesitate because of the signature authority. But
this is just a representation.
I understand, but it's negotiating the contract if there's ever a change to how it's structured.
That will have to come back to the board anyway, that contract, right?
Well, it doesn't matter. I've just,
Pretty mild.
We should look at the compact with the state of Washington and the tribe. This enables them to run a casino in our county.
I understand, but
Right.
whether the Commissioner Minster or Commissioner Mejia sits on that board, what will be the relevance of that?
It's go ahead and change it and we can chat about this later.
well, Commissioner Mejia was assigned last year when I was the chair. This has never been one
Okay.
we designated for the chair.
All right.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about the chair as much as I was to Commissioner Mentor in that district. That's the only thing I was
Yeah,
thinking.
because so let's go with, is any particular wrinkle with that? We'll revisit that later on.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mayor's Forum, Mejia, Edwards. Well, on the Mayor's Forum, since as the chair, Mejia, then the vice chair should be the backup.
It would be Menser.
So it should be Menser.
okay.
Nisqually River Council, Edwards, Menser. North Louis Industrial Access Steering Committee, Mejia, Menser, and I believe that will be an option to change to Commissioner Menser.
Yeah, I just flipped those because I have engaged with that group and it's in my district.
Okay. Orca, Mejia, Edwards, and Josh comments. Pacific Mountain Consortium, Mejia, Edwards. Puget Sound Salmon Recovery Council, Menser, and is not applicable. Because it's not a formal committee, it's just an ad hoc committee. Is that correct, Commissioner?
It's not a Thurston County seat. I'm just specifically representing the watersheds, and my alternate is the lead entity coordinator for RIA 13, Amy Hatch-Winnica. It's not a county commissioner assignment.
So the South Sound Military Communities Partnership Elected Officials Council, Edwards, Mejia. Solid Waste Advisory Committee, Mejia, Edwards. That might be an opportunity to alleviate some of the numbers, unless you still want to have that.
I like this one.
Want to keep it?
Well, yeah, I think I learn twice about, the things. So at least it helps me hear it and process it twice. It's such a deep issue.
Sounds good. TCOM Administrative Board, Edwards, Mejia. Thurston Tribes Community Coordinating Council, Mejia, Menser. Tourism Promotion Area, we agree Mejia, County Auditor, and that will be delegated to Jenica Machado. Transportation Policy Board, Mejia, Edwards. Thurston Regional Planning Council, Edwards, Menser. Climate Action Steering Committee, Menser, Mejia. Voluntary Stewardship Program, Edwards, Mejia. Washington County Risk Pool, Edwards, Menser. Washington State Association of County Boards of Directors, Mejia, Menser. And I think that's where you want to have a conversation between the two. Washington State Association of Counties Legislative Steering Committee, Menser, Edwards. And last but not least, Regional Housing Council, Mejia, Menser, Ramiro Chavez.
So with the WASAC committees, isn't there another one you attend, Commissioner Menser, for the timber?
Yeah, there actually is a third one called the Timber Counties Caucus, which we don't even have on here. And that's why when I first got on the WASAC stuff, I was confused. Like, I was getting emails and I was like, do I have to be at this? And it is something that we're part of. So I've just been covering all three WASACs. I don't know if Commissioner Edwards is interested in the Timber Counties Caucus.
I've kind of been the backup on that. And I don't know if it developed through osmosis or what. But,
yeah, I mean, so you know more about, I mean, the things they talk about, you have more of a background in it than I do. I like learning about it, but it's not.
Are you putting me in there?
Okay, Edwards and Menser as a backup?
That's fine.
That sounds good.
So
Yeah.
to confirm, the Board of Directors is Commissioner Mejia and the Legislative Steering Committee, Commissioner Menser.
I'm asking Commissioner Mejia what she prefer. I would, if I had to pick, I'd pick Board of Directors myself, just because of the dynamic of the group is a little more, but it's your call, I guess.
I don't have a preference, honestly, just I really don't. I don't know enough about them to be like, I want this, so.
Well, legislative steering, you get to kind of weigh in on what Wasac's position should be on various bills. And that's kind of it's fast move. And this is a 60-day session. So it's going to be like a lot going on in the first couple of months, and then it kind of thins out. So I would take Board of Directors if Commissioner Mejia is indifferent.
Okay, yeah, I'm indifferent.
And then she can have Legislative Steering Committee.
Okay, we'll switch that. And the Board of Directors then will switch. That will be the backup Mejia. In the Legislative Steering Committee, there will be Mejia and backup Edwards. Right? You got it? I think I have it. And I think based on this, we might be able to balance the number of boards and commissions.
And there's one that's not on the list. I think that was at Timbers.
Yeah, and I'll add the Wasac Timber County Caucus.
Just make a minor edit to the tourism promotion area. Org support has not been handling that for almost a year now. That's the VCB.
Say that again, I'm sorry, I lost.
So on the tourism promotion area, in the column where you have org support, take that out.
Okay.
And put in the VCB.
Okay, thank you.
I think that puts, with Commissioner Mejia, I think that puts me at 12 instead of 11, and Commissioner Mejia with the delegation to Jenica would be at 14 or 15 rather than 16. So it's a little closer.
Can we do the board? Because I'm like trying to figure it out. I'm like, wait.
We will have a finished
Because
copy.
I felt like I just gave you like a couple, Commissioner Menser, and.
Well, we swapped a couple there. Like we swapped the Capital Lakes were just swapped. I took over
Lewis.
I took over North Lewis and 2%. I think I miscounted that one. So maybe I'm up to 13 then, or maybe I'm up to 13.
I think we might be there. I think Commissioner Edwards with the additional timber caucus will be a little bit higher.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll have more time. I won't be running any meetings.
So what I'll do, let me incorporate all the comments, and I will circulate individually. And individually, please provide comments if you have any questions and additional details. And again, I will bring this item on January 4th. That will be your first meeting, and that will be the only business at the first meeting for you to consider.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. And then let's go then to public testimony.
I'd just like to follow up. You received some emails related to the LP Brown, and that is a nuisance property. As you may recall, this has been a coordination with the Olympia School District. We continue to go through this process. We are planning to have an MOU coming up, and we're still looking at those options. At this point, we're going to be engaging in asking for a title report that we're going to be participating financially. Hopefully that will occur this year. And again, as soon as we can get a memorandum of understanding with the school district, we'll come back to the board as to what the next step. So it's moving. not necessarily at a fast pace, but at least it's moving on the direction, the partnership with the Olympia School District to address this nuisance problem. That's the brief update.
And we do have a fund if we need it now. Right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so
absolutely.
that's
Yep,
another
yep.
piece of that.
And that really is gonna be helpful to help manage this.
Okay. Any questions? No, sounds like we're good there. Commissioner items, it's 11:30. How long do we need for our executive session, Ramiro?
This is probably a good 15 minutes. I just texted Elizabeth to be ready, so whenever she comes online, she'll be ready to go to the session.
Okay, and I'll come in the boardroom for the exec session. So we have a couple minutes waiting for Elizabeth. Is there a commissioner item that the board members have?
No.
You know, I hate to say this, but I thought we were gonna be so busy up until the end of today, I didn't even put any down.
Okay.
So.
May I ask a question? I see
Go ahead.
that the board is receiving a lot of public comment on a vaccine mandate for restaurants and bars, and I'm just curious why.
Thank you for bringing that up. I see they receive a lot of emails encouraging the board, I believe, to implement vaccine requirements or testing requirements on all the restaurants for indoor dining, similar to what King County and other counties have implemented. So I really don't know where that has come from. There seems to be a flurry of emails that we have received. Yeah, thank you.
Right, I thought that I'd see something on the Department of Health agenda, but there's not, and so I was just curious why, because some of the comments say, I understand you're considering this, and I was going, I haven't heard about that. So I don't know where that came from.
I asked Shelley about it yesterday, and I met with a group of citizens about it yesterday. And Shelley said there have been extensive discussions in their internal meetings with the state about it. And I had planned to ask Dr. Abdulmalik to kind of report on those discussions in her report today. And I gave her a heads up that I'd be asking that question. There's a lot of good thought that's gone into it. And I kind of wanted the public to hear that thought that was communicated to me from Shelley, so that the folks I talked to and some of the people that are writing in emails could hear where that thought process is. In terms of Clallam, Jefferson, King County, I believe, have adopted this. The folks that I talk to are very, they're very careful about, because we now know that it's an airborne, airborne virus, and the one type of, we can mask in almost every type of setting except for bars and restaurants. And so they see that as a big gap. And, the vaccine proof to go into bars and restaurants, they think that their argument is that in King County, it has actually increased the numbers in the restaurants and bars, because they think there's a huge contingent of people like themselves that aren't going into bars and restaurants because of this. They said that their friends have driven to Seattle to go to a restaurant, but they will not go into a Thurston County restaurant because people don't, you don't know if people are vaccinated. You don't know, it's just it's a obvious gap in kind of where we're at with everything. So that was what I heard. I don't know who got the emails coming in, but Shelley said there has been a lot of consideration of this, between local officials and state officials. Commissioner Mejia, you had your hand up first, and I'll go to Commissioner Edwards.
So I met with a group of citizens as well, and I think I had kind of along the same conversations I did with Commissioner Menser. And I think my questions relate more to well, how do you even enforce something like that? And I was, right now, Commissioner Dean from Jefferson County is on vacation, but, I'm gonna meet with her sometime in the future to talk about, how is Jefferson County even doing that? Just because I still have a lot of questions about it, and citizens I met with, they weren't able to, transfer all of it. And I know that King County's vaccination rate is higher than Thurston's County. And their restaurants, they are right. They're pretty full. Just trying to get a reservation right now in King County. It's pretty crazy. There's hours. I think I went 2 weekends ago up to King County, and it was like more than an hour wait just to get in. And so I know that they're pretty busy, but I'm not sure if it's because of that or why specifically. But
Commissioner Edwards, go ahead.
I must have missed the memo, I guess. The reason I say that, I've been in several restaurants around here lately, and seems like everybody wears a mask when they walk in, and then when they sit down, they take it off. Is that not the criteria that is supposed to be happening?
No, the King County, for instance, they had a requirement to show proof of vaccination before you can dine in restaurants.
You can get food to take out, but to go in and take a table and eat there, you have to show that you're
They
vaccinated.
have developed an app, a QR code that you can just flash your vaccination status before you can go in. That is in place in King County.
So we put another burden on the restaurant owner to have a person checking?
No, I'm just explaining the emails that we have received. I'm not advocating for what we're.
But I mean, that's basically what it would take. It'd be an additional burden on restaurants. We're not gonna put policemen at the door, right?
No,
So, okay, good.
super simple in Seattle though. When you walk in and ask for a table, you flash your thing and in you go. So I haven't had a problem. But,
Okay.
so I just was curious of why we were seeing all the public comment. But so thank you for that.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to send the Zoom link to Elizabeth. For some reason, she's not having it. So please give me just a minute.
While you're doing that, I was just, something I noticed last week was, I thought the board might be interested if they didn't see it, was that there was an article in that Yakima had basically instituted an RV plan, almost exactly like what we were planning to do, like a designated site to move RVs off of public streets, and the county created some kind of a site, and it was very interesting to see that other communities struggling with the same issues that we are here. Yeah, Commissioner Mejia.
can I bring a commissioner item? I guess now that we're talking about, and we got an influx of emails in regards to the airport again, and I was under the impression that Thurston County was not even being considered for that anymore. And so it kind of just caught me off guard just to receive all those emails and be like, I went to the CACC website to see if there was a conversation that happened, and I couldn't find anything. So I was wondering if anyone knew, or if anyone was caught off guard by those emails, or.
Yeah, I think Thomasine is gonna reach out to do a little more research, because I was surprised as well to receive those emails, because the board sent a letter, as you may recall, stating the county should not be considered. So I don't know where all that stuff is coming from. Again, it seems like every couple months this airport conversation comes up via emails that we receive on the.
Somebody probably found us on YouTube.
I felt like maybe they were having some kind of public forum or whatever, and because we haven't been, officially eliminated or whatever, people are back, trying to make sure that public comment is submitted. I saw that, and I hadn't seen any specific change in status at Thurston County that I could hang my hat on, but I was certainly asking the same questions to myself that Commissioner Mejia was. Are we ready for executive session there, Ramiro?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I'm gonna make the announcement that the Board of County Commissioners will move into an executive session pursuant to RCW 42301101I to discuss with legal counsel potential litigation to which the agency, governing body, or member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party. When public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency. The specific item is Mason Land Use Appeal. No action will follow from the board, but we will come back and just close the meeting prior to adjourning for this morning. So with that,
Yeah, that is correct, sir.
we're going to go into executive session.
Yep, let me just announce
Okay.
on the.
Okay.
You are live.
All right, so we're out of executive session for this December 14th Board of County Commissioners agenda setting work session. No action is being taken by the commissioners. We will have follow-up a hearing and tomorrow and an executive session to deal with this issue further. County manager has a final item before we adjourn.
Yeah, and this is a follow-up to the item that I brought to your attention last week. This related to the salary commissions and the salary recommendations for the elected officials. The salary commission met last night, where they held a public hearing and provided the final recommendation for you to consider. And the recommendation includes the salary for the Board of County Commissioners to be at $10,992 per month. And as you know, you do not have an option related to your salaries. That particular recommendation will be submitted to the auditor's office for implementation. You do have an option in setting the salaries for the rest of the elected officials. And for the recommendation, final recommendation from the Salary Commission for the assessor, auditor, clerk, coroner, and treasurer is the same as the Board of County Commissioners. That will be at $10,992 per month. The recommendation for the prosecuting attorney will be $16,639 per month. And the sheriff, for the recommendation for the sheriff's salary will be $13,580 per month. That was a little bit variation from the draft information that I presented to you last week.
Variation on the auditor?
Yes.
But all the other ones are the same as we saw in the draft?
Yes.
Okay, so do we have to take action to adopt that? That'll be Friday?
We'll try to put a resolution together for Friday. Yes.
And that's what is timely, because you need to take an action on this.
Yes, you do need to take an action.
Yeah, and so that's the latest recommendation. That's the final recommendation by the Salary Commission. That's all I have for you.
Okay, very good.
I can't even vote against myself on that one. We don't have any say.
We don't have any say at first. Okay, then we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.